Today? Monday.
Welcome to the December 20th Mayor and Council meeting in the Borough of Oakland. Roll call.
Mayor Schwager.
Here.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Here.
Councilman Kelly.
Here.
Councilman Sisiski.
Here.
Councilman Talamini.
Here.
Councilman Van Eck.
Here.
Before we begin, please look at your cell phones. Make sure they're either turned off or on mute. And kindly refrain from texting. Texting could be misconstrued as a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. So, and it's also discourteous, disruptive, and it is really annoying. So please refrain from texting.
Where's my...
So kindly stand, salute to the flag, remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Thank you. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. The meeting will adjourn at 10 o'clock p.m. unless the majority of the council members that are present vote to extend the time. We're going a little out of order tonight because we have something very special. This is the last meeting for the year 2021. It's also the last meeting for Councilman John Bialy. So we have something very special for you. So, Cheryl?
Good evening, Mayor and Council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cheryl Krause. I'm Deputy Chief of Staff to Congressman Gottheimer, and I'm here this evening on his behalf to present this proclamation to Councilman Bialy. Congressman Josh Gottheimer proclamation. Whereas Councilman John P. Bialy has served the people of the Borough of Oakland from January 1st, 2000 to December 31st, 2005, and again from January 1st, 2016 to December 31st, 2021. Whereas the councilman has been a steadfast leader in cutting taxes for the families of Oakland and keeping the borough affordable for all, whereas the councilman has continually fought for the seniors of Oakland, making sure that affordable senior housing was available to those who needed it. Whereas the councilman has served the Department of Public Works as chairman, tirelessly working to keep all aspects of the borough functioning smoothly. Whereas the councilman has served as chairman for the Water and Sewer Committee, previously serving on the Finance and Administrative Committees. Whereas the councilman has been a proud member of the council since Oakland has consistently scored in the top 10 best towns to live in New Jersey. Therefore, in presenting this proclamation to Councilman John P. Bialy, I, Josh Gottheimer, United States Representatives, on the behalf of the people of New Jersey's 5th Congressional District, recognize the councilman's 12 years of service to the Borough of Oakland and am pleased to honor his many accomplishments for the families of New Jersey. Signed, Congressman Gottheimer on this date.
Want to take your mask off for the picture?
Yeah, just for the picture. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Stay there. There's more. What is that? What'd I do?
It's all good. It's all good.
Just went to Pennsylvania Avenue.
This is from, unfortunately, our assemblyman could not make it tonight, but we have a beautiful proclamation from Senator Holly Schepisi, Assemblyman Orth, and Assemblywoman DeFuscio. And the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey are pleased to salute the Honorable John P. Bialy, a highly esteemed resident of the Garden State, who will conclude a superb tenure on behalf of the people of the Borough of Oakland, Bergen County, on December 31st, 2021. A proud veteran of our nation's armed services. John P. Bialy shared his considerable insight as a member of the Borough Council from January 1st, 2000 to December 31st, 2005. Then again for a second term, which began on January 1st, 2016, and his extensive record of inspired and effective civil leadership has earned him the deepest respect and admiration of his constituents, has exemplified the high standards of public spirit. And basically it goes on about how you represent the best interests of the fellow citizens, including administration, Department of Public Works, Water and Sewer, Finance, as well as your efforts in numerous organizations, including Public Events Committee, Office of Emergency Management, the Board of Health, and the Senior Center. You have, I'm summarizing, you enjoyed an outstanding career as an electrician with local number 164 that has spanned 35 years, and also lends his expertise as Director of Development to the Housing Development Corporation of Bergen County. And he is further appreciated for his accomplishments as Senior Project Coordinator for the Bergen County Parks Department. And you can read the rest of this. It has to do with the American Legion. And you're American right there. Small print, I know. Yeah, devoted.
Okay. Whereas devoted to making his neighborhood a better place, John P. Bialy has given generously of his time and energy to the Oakland American Legion, post number 369, and Knights of Columbus Council number 5846. And he has been supported by his beloved wife, Patricia, throughout his many noteworthy endeavors. And want me to continue?
I keep going. We have more.
And whereas within all the spheres of his life and work, John P. Bialy has established a model to emulate and set a standard of excellence toward which others might strive. And whereas it is altogether proper and fitting for a New Jersey legislator to acknowledge John B. Bialy and to praise him as an individual of remarkable character and exceptional determination. Now therefore be resolved by the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that this legislature body hereby commends John P. Bialy, pays tribute to his meritorious history of service, leadership, and commitment, and extends sincere best wishes for continued success and happiness. And be further resolved that a duly authorized copy of this resolution, signed by the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker and attested by the State Secretary and the Assembly Clerk, be transmitted to the Honorable John P. Bialy.
Thank you so much.
Now you have time to spend with your new granddaughter.
I do, and I just want to,
We're not finished.
oh,
And this is from us in Oakland. There is no greater challenge and there is no greater honor than to be in public service. And the Borough of Oakland would like to recognize and honor you for the commendable 12 years of public service as councilman. The borough has been very fortunate to have your leadership and expertise. During your various terms, you worked on numerous committees, including administration, Department of Public Works, Water and Sewer, Finance, Liaison to Public Events, Schools, Flood Commission, OEM, Municipal Alliance, Board of Health, Senior Center, and Historic Preservation. And don't think you're getting away with stopping there. You're going to come back to that. And you have been an advocate for sidewalks on the north ends of town and worked tirelessly for the demolition and future reconstruction of the Stream House. The Mayor and Council and residents of the Borough of Oakland extend their gratitude to you for your outstanding service to the Borough of Oakland and wish you continued success in your future endeavors and with your granddaughter.
thank you so much. I'm going to take this off for a minute. I have have to take this all in. I was not expecting this or anything.
It was a surprise, that's why it's not on the agenda.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody, the mayor, the council. I want to thank Lisa and also Rich, all the staff, including Michael at Borough Hall, for all the years that they put up with me. And I was fortunate enough to be dealing with some very good folks here on the council over the years. I've taken this trip to a council meeting 288 times. So it's not that I was counting or anything. But I've been fortunate. I've been fortunate that the people of Oakland saw fit to let me lead and be part leader of the community for 12 years. I know I've done the best I could. Hopefully we'll serve the community for a long, long time. Hopefully all the accomplishments that we've all had will take hold and make every resident of this town proud to be a resident of Oakland, New Jersey. And I can't believe that guy had all those jobs. But I enjoy everything I do. It's 53 years now with Local 164.
Oh.
They continue the number every year.
Oh.
So,
Well, we didn't want to keep adding.
yeah, I know. That's 35 years of work. The rest of it's been, thank God, been retirement years. But as you all know, I haven't retired yet. So I continue to push forward, do what I like to do, and make sure that every day I'm adding something that makes somebody else's life a better way and a better life for us all. And that's what we're here for, to make the quality of life in Oakland better for everybody. So I thank you. I thank everybody that came tonight. I appreciate the kind words and the messages and the proclamations. And I'll be back.
I know. I know
Thank
from
you.
2000.
I know. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I'd like to have a minute. I don't know if anyone else knows John as long as I have, but I've known John for over 30 years. His daughter and my daughter grew up since
40 years.
40 years.
40 years.
Since early childhood. And I can attest that when John puts his mind and devotion to doing something, he puts 100% of his effort into it. And John, we're certainly going to miss you. I don't think anyone will give reports as thoroughly as you. but we always appreciated the information. I'm sure the residents did. They got the information right from the horse's mouth, and I'm sure it was very useful to many residents. And thank you, John. You've done a great job.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Thank you. And please extend to Josh my warm thank yous for the beautiful words that he put together in that proclamation. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Holly would have been here tonight, but it's her birthday.
I know, she's 50 today.
That's a secret.
That's not a secret. And I want to wish Steve the best in filling in my seat while I leave. Maybe temporarily, who knows? Okay? Thank you.
He came back up to after first time. So, at this time, it's the mayor's report. I'm going to keep it very short because we have a very long meeting. I want to congratulate Liz Laurenti, our monthly newsletter editor. Our electronic newsletter that comes out monthly. She received the Hometown Hero Award by Congressman Josh Gottheim today. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. During that time, I was prosecuting in court. So, Liz, congratulations, and thank you for all that you do for us. Our 2022 Borough calendar has been mailed. Some of you may have received it already, but if not, you will be. Oh, you got it already, Chopper. Chopper's holding it up.
I picked it up. Hey, you want to show it?
No. Everybody's getting mailed.
No.
Surprising your mailbox, the 2022 calendar. So if not today, tomorrow, or the next day, we don't know with the mail. And This is our last meeting of the year, as I said. Remember, the virus is spreading. Please be careful. You've seen the long lines at the senior center with the testing going on. If you're not sure, get tested. Be careful. We want to see you next year happy and very healthy. And so I wish everyone a very happy and healthy new year. And with that, motion's open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? With the calendar.
Chaparuso, 58 Minnehaha Boulevard. Talking about stepping down, Commander Ron Beatty, who's run the Oakland Memorial Day Parade tirelessly for, 20 plus years, maybe 30 years, is stepping down.
No.
So he has put it on to, well, as many of you know, Oakland Public Events has always financed it. We've always tried to assist. We need help. Mike McNulty, that's with the Marines, he's trying to put a group together of vets. And John, this is perfect. And first, may I thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
But I'm going to ask you to step back up and help us to run and manage a Memorial Day Parade.
So you're totally taking over the Memorial Day Parade?
Yeah, it's been thrown in our lap. But, we only have so much manpower. And we try to do the events we have better. But we're inviting all the vets and anyone. Anyone, you don't have to have served. But being John's available now, and he's down the street. So you're in, John. And Pat, love for you to help. And anyone in the general public. Okay? And we're committed to do it because it's in the calendar right here, May 29th, 2 days before my birthday. And Michael's birthday is on Wednesday. Great job, all you guys on this calendar. It's fantastic.
You did a great job. Thank you.
All right,
Michael.
and that's all I
Michael
got.
puts it together.
Yeah, well done. But please, to anybody in the public, I think my number's around, just text
And then
me.
after that, you're doing the special new event for Christmas time.
We are? What are we doing?
Remember we
Oh,
talked
that's
about
right. Oh, well, I'm half crazy because I was out doing the holiday lights. And
Right.
tomorrow, I have to throw in, you got a couple of nice houses on Lakeview Terrace and over on Birch. And we're going to do the other side of town. So tomorrow will be the
Contest, this is
finals
the holiday
for the contest.
contest.
What we're going to do is, maybe we'll take from the Memorial Day Committee, we want to do a truck Christmas light parade. for the
I don't know if
holidays.
anybody's ever seen up in Suffolk, they do it, Ridgewood, I saw it in Wallington does it. There'll be a parade of Christmas lights on cars and trucks and buses, it's beautiful.
Throw a couple tanks in there. All right.
That's right.
But, and to everybody, thanks. We had a great turnout for the Christmas tree menorah lighting.
Yeah.
Our Santa's moving, so we're gonna need a Santa. And I'm on a diet, so I'm out.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes. You have to give your name and address.
So, name and address. Riley Zook, and I'm from 33 Crosby Lane here in Oakland. And as you may know, I'm younger than probably everybody else in the room. And I'm a student at Ramapo High School, and it's about the current mask situation.
Yes.
As you may know, back in high school, you guys probably didn't have to wear masks. And
Remember, we're a lot older than you?
yes. And as you may know, since you guys wear masks at the seat, it might be a little suffocating, and it's also extremely suffocating down in school. And I just want to say many teachers are getting a lust of power because they feel that they need to enforce a mask mandate that just simply doesn't work. And even if it were to work, you can't control 1,400 kids in a school to put their mask on correctly. And I actually have a mask box. These are the masks that they hand out in school. And I see many people picking these up. If you could just pass these around. Those are the ones that they provide. It states that it is not tested for protection against COVID-19.
This is ridiculous.
And it also states that you should not use it in high infectious areas
Or in a surgical setting?
or in a surgical setting. And the fact that they hand these out in school and it doesn't do any protection is extremely upsetting. And honestly, I think that even if it would be, helpful against COVID, during lunch, obviously we can't eat with the mask on. It'd be extremely uncomfortable. So many people, they put their masks down on these student desks. However, hundreds of people sit down on those desks per day, and it's probably filled with more germs than what this virus contains itself. And as a student, I also feel that it's extremely socially awkward to be 6 feet away from people while suffocating underneath a mask for, 6 to 6.5 hours a day. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. What year are you in?
2023. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Helen Majestic, 824 Ramapo Valley Road. This is new to me. I'm only here a couple of years. You have a couple.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Helen Majestic.
Okay.
You have the cannabis resolutions that you're doing today.
Ordinances.
I'm sorry?
Ordinances.
Ordinances. Okay. And I just had a couple questions because I can't seem to get real information. I tried looking it up and I just wanted to know. Is it yay or nay for retail in Oakland?
We'll keep going because it's not an answer and question and answer. We'll
Oh,
come
okay.
back.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
So I
okay.
just wanted to know, and then there's the 10-acre rule for cultivation, right? And only 25%, so 2.5 acres of that can be cultivated, right? And I'm not even sure, is there 10 acres available in Oakland to do that? And I was wondering, I know it had started and then it was stopped, and there was a commission put together to see, was there cost analysis done to see how much revenue we're losing for the taxes if we are not doing retail? So those are my questions.
Someone will get back to you. If you could give Michael your name and contact information.
Be glad to. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just for the record, no retail. That was an easy answer.
Okay.
And also for the record, we don't have control over what happens in the schools. So you should be going to both school boards, all the school boards. They have the control of the schools. There is a wall between the governing bodies in the 3 towns that are in the regional district and the school boards. But you did a good job.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, December 8th, did we close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
December 8th, minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Abstain.
Councilman Van Eck.
Abstain.
We have minutes from the executive session, December 8th, 2021. If there's going to be any discussion, it must be made during executive session.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there going to be any discussion? If not, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Abstain.
Councilman Van Eck.
Abstain.
The next item on the agenda is the zoning board appeal. Do you want to start, Wanda?
Yeah, maybe if I can, Mayor. Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to recuse myself from this. I'm hereby recusing myself from these proceedings. Information has been relayed to me that the mayor has been more involved in this matter than she should have. I'm recusing myself as I don't want anything to affect my objectivity. Thank you.
Yes.
So,
Though I have no vote. Go ahead.
that's one thing I'll mention also. This is unusual for Oakland because I believe it's the first time in my 20-some years here that there's actually been a zoning board appeal. But under our ordinance, an appellant has the right to seek a review by the governing body of a use variance that was granted by the Board of Adjustment. In this case, there was an appeal regarding Elahi Fuel, which is located at 357 Ramapo Valley Road. Board of Adjustment granted a use variance. Prior to the proceedings this evening, I requested that the Borough Clerk, Lisa Duncan, obtain all the documentation regarding the Board of Adjustment application. That has previously been compiled and submitted to all the members of the governing body. In addition, transcripts of the hearings, and there were 5 transcripts, were obtained by the appellant and also transmitted to all the governing body members. I requested all the governing body members prior to this evening to review those transcripts and the record before the board. And I think to put it in perspective is with those 5 hearings, there were hearings conducted on December 8th of 2020 in which Mr. Allahy testified. The matter was carried to January 12th, 2021, but it appears that it wasn't recorded correctly. So any testimony that was adduced at that hearing was then addressed again on February 9th, 2021. Mr. Allahy and Mr. Weissman, a professional engineer, testified. Matter was adjourned to March, and then adjourned again to April 13th, 2021. Brian Rowan, the traffic officer for the borough, testified, and also Joseph Steiger, a traffic consultant for the applicant. Matter was then again carried to June 8th of 2021, and again, Mr. Allahy, Mr. Weissman, and Mr. Steiger testified. Matter was not concluded then, and the board conducted another hearing on July 13th, 2021, and the board heard evidence from Joseph Steiger, the traffic consultant for the applicant, Charles Height, the traffic consultant for the applicant, and John Yakimic, the board and borough engineer, and also Steve Leiden, the board and borough planner. Thereafter, the board voted to approve the application on July 13th, and a resolution was adopted thereafter. That resolution, I believe, was adopted on, I'm just looking at the date, on September 14th, 2021. The board's job here is not to take testimony, the governing body's job here is not to take testimony. It's what's called a de novo review, which means a new review. You are required to evaluate the evidence that has been adduced at the hearings based upon the transcripts and the record that has been presented to you. We do not take new testimony, but one of the cases has indicated that the governing body is to have the authority to make this review of the record established before the board and reach its own decision in the matter subject only to the requirement that its findings and conclusions are supported by the record. And what that means is you have to make a determination if the use variance was appropriately granted by the zoning board. The governing body consists of the legislative body, which is the council. The mayor has no vote in this appeal. However, the statute is clear. You need an affirmative vote of a majority members of the governing body. That means there are 4 votes required to take an action regarding this appeal. The statute also indicates that you could affirm the variance granted by the board, reverse or modify. In this instance, it appears that a use variance was granted. We are not dealing with a new structure. There was no site plan approval. So it would be difficult, in my opinion, to modify that decision. The last aspect of this is that, as I indicated, you have to evaluate the record. Now, the board found in its resolution that this site was suitable for the proposed use. My understanding is all of you have reviewed the transcripts, you reviewed the record, and that is where we are at today. Mr. Kamala has recused himself, so in order for an action to be taken, there must again be 4 votes of the governing body. That's what I have to say. Now, does anyone have any questions about the procedure? Because my suggestion would be is that the governing body have discussion, And if there is an action, there should be a motion to either affirm or reverse the board's decision. And that motion would be seconded and then voted on just like any other motion. And then you would authorize me to prepare a resolution to memorialize that at the January meeting. So is there any questions?
I will begin. I don't know why. I have no vote. Absolutely no vote. I never had a vote on this. It's easy to recuse yourself and not have to take a stand, but we are deciding on the issues as if this case is being heard for the first time based upon transcripts. I do a lot of research. As you all know, I'm an attorney. I investigated. I am not a land use authority, so I did a lot of research, did a lot of investigating, and a lot of reading. You cannot hear new testimony. That is new information, not in the transcripts. I had hoped all of you read all the transcripts, and if nothing else, and if you did not read all the transcripts, at least read the last transcript, which was the final vote. Elijah Fuel was represented by Ben Cassio. His professionals that were hired by the applicant were Mr. Weissman, an engineer, professional engineer, Mr. Steiger, a traffic engineer, Charles Height, a professional planner, and the applicant, who himself testified. And according to the transcripts, he testified that in the very beginning, his testimony was that he expects his business to expand tenfold, and by the end, it was only de minimis. The borough's professionals who spoke were Officer Brian Rowan, our very own traffic officer, John Yakimic, our borough engineer, Steve Lyden, our borough planner, and then at the very end, the chairman's final statement. The board voted on July 13th, 2021 for a use variance. Use variance. What is a use variance? A use variance runs with the land. Therefore, if the applicant sells his business to anyone who wants to use it for any auto repair, regardless of his unique business model which he presented during the hearings, we have no say at all. The board granted because it's going to be a particular repair shop, but it's typical only for him. If it ever changes, there's nothing we can do. The applicant claimed that he leases from, the applicant claims he leases from Luke Oil. If that ever changes, there's nothing we can do. And we cannot judge anything that happens at Luke Oil with this application. And we don't know what the future, if he ever sells this business, the future of ingress and egress out of this property. Remember, we will have no jurisdiction over Luke Oil, no enforcement except with our officers. The use variance is in perpetuity. That means it's there. It can never change. And basically, what the board did by voting, they said, you know what? Back in 2016, there was a master plan. And in the master plan, in the CBD zone, which is in the center of town, there were 75 permissible uses. So to get this use variance, the applicant had to demonstrate how his one use is more beneficial to the public than all the other 75 uses on this property. The test is not, is it okay? That's not the test to use for use variance. The test is it more beneficial to the public than what is permissible? The burden of proof to show such permission and benefit is the burden is on the applicant. If you read the transcripts thoroughly, as I did, and I marked off and I taped it, remember the use variance runs with the land. And the mayor and council is elected to make sure things go as we want in the town. Basically, what the zoning board did was, master plan is wrong, it should be used. Our ordinance is wrong, should be used. Our planner is wrong, that we hire, our borough planner, Steve Lyden. Our engineer, who has been with us for many years, is wrong in what he said. Our job is not to say, you know what, the zoning board members, you didn't do a good job. That's not our job. Our job is to protect the entire town. We have been talking about, Eric Kamala gave a presentation, he wants the town to look Victorian. Kevin Heffernan presented a couple of plans, both to the planning board and to the council, making the look nice. Our planner, Steve Lyden, showed us we're voting on streetscape. Spent over a year at the planning board, and Councilman Van Eck, I think, started when he was still on the planning board on streetscape. We're trying to make the downtown look nice. We want a pedestrian walkway. We want it to look very pretty. We wanted to finally do something, and this use variance right in the middle of the CBD zone, we'll take that away because it runs with the land. We will have no control if Elahi Fuel ever sells. Any future owner is not bound by Mr. Elahi's specific model plan. The transcript, the resolution says it for the South, and over again, he talks about his specific model plan, but once it's done, or he sells, we will have no control over that property because the use has been granted. And I will finish by just repeating at the final transcript from the chairman of the zoning board. Quote, Chairman LaPrey, page 101. I'll say one thing to the applicant, realize this is never in any way personal, okay? Having listened to Mr. Lyden and council's indication of what criteria must be met, the positive and negative, and I'm sorry to say what I'm seeing is not taking me to the point where I believe the positive criteria has been satisfied, particularly in the suitability of the site, which I know is what is a great deal of testimony was predicated on. He goes on to say, I'm finding it a stretch to call this site actually suitable. I mean, everything in the master plan is totally in a different direction to send this elsewhere. I don't see this as transcending to the directives in the master plan. Lastly, we have a gentleman here with a business who is a good neighbor, supporter in town, and everything else. I'd love to help him out. It's a good idea, just in the wrong spot. And I will open it up to anybody else.
Mayor, I would suggest perhaps we go around the room to council members, any comments or questions.
Yes, where should we start?
Whichever
You want to
side
start,
you wanna
Councilman
with.
Bennett?
Sure, I can start. Yeah, I mean, I looked over, flipping through some of the points of the transcript that I highlighted that jumped out at me. It seems like there's, I guess one of the things that I'm trying to understand here too, and a lot of this came up in the transcript, was the Fur Court location, an 18,000-foot warehouse where a lot was going on. That's, to me, seems like a much better location for this type of a business than right on Ramapo Valley Road. So I don't know why it wasn't, I guess, the answer as to why not put something like this over there, or in one of our industrial zones. Instead of in the center of business, just where I see should be something that's beautiful. I guess the building, but we're talking 6 bay doors, right? 6 doors.
We can't interact with them.
Oh, that's right. 2 doors, sorry. I moved the...
6 bays.
Six lifts, 2 doors. The doors are on the side of the gas station, so you're not going to see those from the street. If you're going south, you would see it if you're going north.
Well, I was confused if it's 2 doors, how you get 6 bays.
Yeah, that's a little bit of what threw me off here. I'm just trying to scroll through. The transcript, really, the zoning board members really looked into this one. There was good Q&A here. I mean, it looks like they covered them, and we can't question and do a Q&A, so that's what I'm challenged here to without kind of going back into some of these and maybe hearing it myself. Reading it on paper is one thing, looking at it, driving by it. I drove by it today to take a look at it before the meeting. I mean, I think this is a great local business. It does a lot for the town, and the whole thing with Optimum, I thought that was interesting. I didn't know about that they used to have their own shop, and then that business was taken on, a local business. Even little things, like I like to hear you give customers rides home because they're local. I mean, all that's really good. I really struggle with that garage, and again, having been on the planning board, and then, and for that year that I did it, I really learned a lot about use variances, but we do have a zoning board that's supposed to look at these things and make these types of decisions, and so I'm struggling, based on reading all the transcripts, how they ended up coming to that conclusion that this was a good idea. It seems counter to a lot of what I read in the transcripts, but that's still what the outcome was, and that's the reason we have this board. It's, again, it is counter to the plan that we have here in Oakland. So I see, I really struggle because I believe that it's not good. Since I've lived in town, I haven't lived in town very long. I have a very young family, so I haven't been in town too long. Probably the newest of anybody on the council, for sure. That building's been empty since I've been in town. That's not a good thing. So I see the one side of it that's good, we have something there, it's better than an empty building. The other time, at the other side, I see that the reason we have a plan, the reason we have these zones and these uses is really intentional, and that's important to maintain the character of the town. And it was really big, especially going through it with breweries and distilleries, something I worked on this year, with outdoor dining, that was another one of my initiatives this year working on, and with the marijuana ad hoc committee that really was deeply immersed, a second year, in zoning and the zones that we have and the uses and how all that works and the reason behind it, the why matters. And there is a why to we say yes to one thing and no to another in a particular part of town and not another. This to me does not seem like it fits right in the smack dab in the middle, in the heart, the very focal point right in the middle of where our main strip is in this town. And that is what I'm really struggling with. I see both sides of this very clearly, and I guess I'll start off with saying that. You could always come back to me. I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say, but this is something I've really been grappling with, as you can tell from what I have to say.
Councilman.
This has been a long, arduous process, I have to admit. I guess the transcripts had 600 or 700 pages. I have pages and pages of handwritten notes that I took because I think this is a very serious matter. I've reviewed the transcripts from the Board of Adjustment meetings regarding Mr. Elia's application. I also read Mr. Cassio's letter regarding his summation regarding Mr. Elia's presentation. As the mayor stated before, the master plan amendment states specifically automotive-related issues should be regulated to other business zones. Therefore, any approval would be in conflict with our planning board recommendations. One theme that's been repeated throughout this appeals process to be very important when deciding whether a use variance should be granted, and that is reviewing the positive and negative criteria for this variance. Also, courts have directed boards to look at things and identify certain positive criteria. I also paid particular attention to statements made by both members of the board and by our professionals during the testimony. As the mayor said, Chairman LaPree said, the question is, do you or don't you believe that this particular applicant has met the positive and negative? It's not taking me to the point where I believe that the positive criteria has been satisfied. Other testimony also stated that only exceptional cases warrant a use variance. And even one board member stated, "I would like to help, but it's in the wrong place." I also placed a great deal of weight on a testimony that our professionals gave during the appeal. Mr. Yukemic, our engineer, said, and I quote, "Nothing was provided considering a future scenario where the widening of Terhune Street, which was not provided. This is a major concern since this is one of the options to help alleviate our downtown congestion." Mr. Yukimic also stated, and I quote, "Part of our circulation plan, example, is the connection of Terhune Street to West Oakland Avenue, which is a viable and reasonable future item. Expansion of Terhune Street would compromise angular parking at this site." His critical objection, Mr. Yukimic, remains suspect that the site will be able to support parking. The one thing that disturbed me the most was that 3 board members had a negative opinion regarding approval, but when it came to vote, only 1 member voted no. This has been a very trying experience for me to come to a conclusion after many hours reviewing the transcript. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Bialy.
Yes, again, I don't want to rehash what my fellow councilmen have brought to the plate, but I spent hours reading every word of the transcripts. I spent time trying to indicate to me, from what I got out of the transcripts, what the feeling of the members of the zoning board were, and more importantly, what our professionals that were present had to add, and that is our planning board, Steve Lyden, our planner, Steve Lyden, our engineer, John Yukimic, and our traffic officer. Now, all of those spoke without favor for the project. And for me, that's my eyes and ears for us, for the council members. You represent my feelings. You're professionals, you're hired for us to do what is right for us. And then, as Councilman Pignatelli indicated, 3 of the board members all claimed, had negative comment on this project, this application, meeting the requirements to go forward. And Mr. LaPrey, who's the chairman of the board, I was almost stunned to find out that he voted for it after he said, "I'm seeing the positive," and I'll say one thing to the applicant: realize this is never personal. Having listened to Mr. Lyden, council's indication as to what criteria must be met, the positive and the negative, and I'm sorry to say, what I'm seeing is not taking me to the point where I believe the positive criteria has been satisfied, particularly in the suitability of the site, which I know is what a great deal of testimony was predicated on. That being said, I go back to the one document that we're all supposed to use as the Bible here, and that's the master plan. The master plan indicates and dictates to us how this town should be built, run, and maintained, how it's supposed to look. That's what the master plan's service is to us, and we should treat that like the Bible. And from what I'm seeing and all the indications of the master plan, serving notice that 75 other businesses should be in the center of the town and none for auto repair, I just had a hard time struggling. And, and it's nothing to do with the applicant. I love the guy. All my tires, my gas, everything comes out of that gas station. But I'm looking at the town 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And we could never bring this town to what we want it to look like with this business in the center heart of the town. I would see a restaurant, I could see many other businesses, but I just had time struggling with it, and I'll hold my opinion and my vote to the end. But and I spent time on this. It's almost like reading a book, and that's what it was. It was like reading a book. And the conclusions that you come from, take away from it, leave me with a feeling.
So I guess I'll go. It was like reading a book. It was like reading an awful, boring book. You think watching these meetings are terrible? You should try reading one. Just the point of the master plan and all that. That's the point of the zoning board, though. If you don't agree with the master plan, you go to the zoning board to try. I mean, like I had an overhang that I wanted to put on my house, and I had to go before the zoning board because my house is less than 40 feet from the street, and so I had to go to the zoning board. Now, oh my God, it's counter to the plan, but my house looks a lot better. Just that point. That's why he went there. That's why the zoning board's there. So the fact that it's counter to the master plan, if it wasn't, he wouldn't have to go to the zoning board. But my first problem is we put these boards in place, and that's why they're there. So we don't have to go through this, and we trust them, and we don't have to go. So my first inclination is to say trust your officials, the people that we put there to make decisions. Reading the testimony, you hear a lot of stuff from our engineers and the traffic officer and so a lot of negative stuff, and I see how the board members were all asking questions and coming about it, and you would say negatively, and then in the end you find them voting affirmatively. And I think a lot of that had to do with Sam. I think Sam is a great salesman, and he has a vision. And I think, to me, in the short run, I think Sam's plan works for cleaning up the area. If it becomes this booming business in the long run, I don't know that it's the best spot for that. But sometimes you just have to deal with stuff, and if it makes it better right now, you could see where Sam's coming from. I mean, I went back and read Sam's testimony a couple times, actually, because he was very passionate about how much Oakland is important to him, and what it means to his business, and what he thinks he could do to improve the current condition of what's going on there now. But again, that's short run. In the long run, I don't know, but that's where I am right now.
I read the transcripts, and I'm pretty much going to echo what the other councilman spoke about. Sam's done a great job. Great resident. Again, I get my tires and gas from him as well. I was a little confused, though, like what Councilman Piali brought up. With the votes. Being against. It's just really, confusing situation. We did put these people in place to make our decision. There are guys, but what's confusing me is this business being right in the center of town. We're trying to beautify it. We're trying to come up with great plans, the master plan. We'll see.
There, if those are all the comments, anyone have any questions of me?
I just want to remind you about the use variance and what Councilman Talamini says. You're right. Right now, his plan will be good, maybe, we don't know. It's always a guesswork with business. I own my own business. I never know from day to day if it's going to go up or down. But the question with the use variance is that it doesn't go with Elahi Fuel, it goes with the land. So if, God forbid, something happens to him a few years from now, he has to sell, we're stuck with an automotive garage in the middle of town, and we won't have control over his unique kinds of business. We don't know what will happen if he ever loses his lease to Lugoil, because we have no control over that. So we cannot tie the two together. And none of you mentioned even by Brian Rowan's testimony. He's our traffic officer. We all voted. He's our traffic officer. He's saying
A lot of it was that he couldn't hear him and was unmuted, and this was brutal to read. You're going through, it was on a Zoom meeting, you're reading this, it's like, I'm not muted. Oh, can you hear me now?
Well,
I mean, it's like lines of that.
Well, I have tabs and I color code my transcripts. That's how we do it in court. But he was asked about this by the chairman. With the approval of this application, improve circumstances in the downtown or exacerbate circumstances in the downtown, or be absolute neutral. This is strictly his opinion, strictly his opinion, and goes further down. And he can't give a definitive answer, but he thinks it could only be worse than better by sheer volume of the attracting further traffic. And he talks about, he says, I guess, overall concerns, larger footprint, larger amount of vehicles, larger overflow. It's just reflective of all the things observed and just being complete and thorough with his finding. And that's our traffic officer. So yes, we want to trust our board members. They're appointed. And that's important, to trust our board members. But we have hired, every year we appoint and pay our traffic officer, our borough engineer, our borough planner. And Mr. Leiden has been involved since 2016 on the master plan and its reexamination. And to repeat, on the master plan, if you vote that the master plan doesn't count with they gave 75 uses for this particular CBD zone. Basically, what the zoning board is saying, you know what, 2016 master plan is wrong. The ordinance was wrong. The planner is wrong. Steve Leiden was wrong not to include this. The engineer is wrong. And it's all in his statements. Councilman Kamala thinks I took a special interest in this. I did, because it's very concerning to me what it will look like to have a garage in the middle of town with cars coming and going. I drive through town every single day. I live on the north end of town. My office is on the south end of town. And for the longest time, I would call Richard Cummings every day. And what would I say? All those trucks in the parking lot, it is so ugly. Do something. Every single day. And every day I would see, and I would have traffic. And if someone wants to make a left, the traffic stops. I don't vote. So maybe I took an interest. I read the law. I read the books. I went through all the transcripts. I highlighted. I taped the transcripts. I read them all, and I was shocked at the end, after all the comments, after the chairman's comments. I could not believe what I read at the end with the vote. It seemed the testimony was different.
They weren't convinced of one point too that I alluded to a little bit when I spoke, but I didn't say it, and no one else brought it up, is the parking and the staging and loading. And I think there's somewhere in here, I'm trying to find it, I thought I highlighted it. Mr. You said he's not yet convinced. It was a good line, because it got kind of heated. I mean, again, I didn't watch the Zoom, but you can tell just from reading it when things are getting a little more animated. And it was a point where things seemed to be getting a little more animated, and they just said, John said that he's just not convinced. Oh yeah, here it is. It's on page 252 or 259. in one of these where he just says he's just not convinced about the parking. And that's the staging and loading. That element of it is, as you were just mentioning here, one of my biggest concerns. Aesthetically, but even just feasibly, how that could even work, especially with the, it says 23 parking spots.
And was surprised
And
to
the
me
capacity of that lot.
that the traffic engineer, our traffic officer didn't mention was, years back, we passed an ordinance prohibiting a left turn from Chase Bank because of the accidents. And if this property has to make a lot of left turns to get out of there, I don't know how that's going to affect the traffic, the accident count. So
Yeah,
it is a problem making a left out of there.
And I feel, listen, I own my own business. I wanted to excel, but my business is on Spruce Street, so I've been down on Fir Court to see where your trucks are. I've passed Maple, where you've had property there. I couldn't understand in the beginning, you did have property in Booton, then you didn't have property in Booton, then you did have property in Booton, then you didn't have property. It was very confusing what you really had. I feel for you, I want you to succeed, but not in the middle of town. And I don't vote. Yes, I took an extra interest in this. I don't know what Councilman Kamal was alluding to, but I did put on Facebook because I wanted to hear from people. I wanted to know their reactions. I wanted to know exactly what the residents want from us. We are the elected officials. The zoning board is not elected. You will have the opportunity to reappoint some of those zoning board members. That's a council's appointment, not mine. I do planning board. By statute, I cannot appoint to the zoning board. I make a recommendation, a name, but it is a council vote, not my vote. And you want to trust your board members, but they don't answer to the public. We answer to the public. We are the elected officials. And that's why I put it out on Facebook. I did. I didn't give an opinion. I said, please let me know what you think. Because we are the elected officials, and our job was to be elected to represent everyone in town. And with that, I'll entertain, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chakowski, so if we, as the council overturned the decision that the zoning board made, is that it, that's final, is that it's over?
Well, nothing is really over as there is a, this is unusual that there's an appeal to the governing body. So if there wasn't an appeal, an interested party has the right to go into court to challenge the decision of the board. In this instance, whatever, if a decision is made, if let's call it unfavorable to the applicant by the governing body, the applicant certainly has the right to have that reviewed by a court, just as if it was an unfavorable decision at the Board of Adjustment. You know, if you go over what the standard of proof is, and you say there was insufficient proof there, again, the court's going to review it based upon the record. So you're an intermediary, almost like acting as a court reviewing the Board of Adjustment decision. So, I mean, I think at this point in time, as I've indicated, there are 5 eligible members to vote. 4 votes are required to take an appropriate action. So if you do not achieve 4 votes, it's deemed that the decision of the zoning board is affirmed. That's what the statute NJSA 40:55D-17 provides. So, I mean, at this point in time, unless there are any other questions, I would just say there should be a motion. That motion should be either to affirm or reverse the zoning board's decision.
Is there a motion to do something?
Let's make a motion.
Well, somebody has to make a motion. Is there a motion to either affirm or deny? Or
This
not
is very
affirm,
tough
but
for all of
I'm not
us.
saying deny, affirm or
Reverse.
reverse, sorry, I
Reverse.
couldn't think of it.
This is very tough for all of us. As a senior member, I'm looking at the history going forward of Oakland, and I'm going to make a motion to reverse the planning board
Zoning.
the zoning board's decision.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
He's not voting.
Right. Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
I'm going no. I'm going with the board.
Councilman Van Eck.
Yes.
All right, so based upon the vote, it's
Does the
four.
abstention go with the
No,
majority?
not in this case, because there's a specific.
Right, and I cannot break a tie at all anyway.
Right, so the vote was 4-1, so the decision of the zoning board is reversed. I will prepare a resolution for the next meeting for action by the governing body at that time. And all that resolution does is memorialize the determination. This is your determination. But I think we have to reduce it to writing.
At this time, which is my appointment, is the Recreation Committee, and I did discuss with Councilman Van Eck, who is our Recreation Liaison. We have 2 openings right now. I think there's going to be a third. I think there is a third. But right now, there are 2 openings on Recreation. Steve Saliani, who is Councilman-elect, has resigned from the commission. Thank you for doing it tonight, because they need somebody to replace you immediately. And I'm recommending that Michael Ives be appointed in your spot, and he's going to start basketball immediately. So, Michael Ives, you are appointed to the Recreation Commission. You will be serving out the remainder of Steve Saliani's term, which expires December of 2024. And please come to Borough Hall to get the paperwork to sign everything. And Emily Smolinski had to move out of town. She resigned, and we have someone, a woman, to take her place. So she will be replacing Emily as, I think, the alternate 2. And her term is unexpired term, expiring December in 2024. So thank you for volunteering and doing so. Okay, we have consent agenda for resolutions. If you wish any pulled out, if I start reading it, just let me know. Resolution 21-345, authorize a settlement agreement. DH's employment. DH is initials for a person, personnel. Excuse me. And he has agreed to a settlement agreement dated December 20th, 21, and the borough is hereby authorizes me, the Bay, to execute the settlement agreement and release dated December 20, 2021. 21-346 is to authorize shared service agreement with Bergen County Health, and it's due, our current contract is due to expire December 31st, 2021. The County of Bergen is going to renew the agreement for an additional year for the following fees: public health officer, $18,110.68. Registered environmental health specialist and septic and well services billed at $77.86, which is $28,989.30. Cost per annum 2022 is $47,099.98. The CFO has certified the availability of funds. 21-347, authorized refund of recreation fees. Leibowitz family in Franklin Lakes do $180 for roller hockey, 2 children. Belize family in 62 Monhegan Avenue, $170 for travel basketball. Ning family, 37 Winding Ridge, Oakland, $78 for rec basketball. Hill family, 19 Pinecrest Drive, $205 for roller hockey, 2 children. Barry family, 12 Shoshone Path, Oakland, $115 for roller hockey. 21-348 is to authorize the settlement over litigation. We were contacted with an Oprah request from Rise Against Hate org, known as Rise Against Hate. They filed an Oprah request We denied it. They challenged it. They wanted to litigate it. To avoid litigation, the borough attorney has recommended that the borough execute a settlement agreement, which is set forth in Resolution 2348. 21349 is to cancel capital balances, and certain capital improvement authorization balances remain dedicated to projects which have been completed. The balances are no longer necessary for the purposes originally created, and there is a list that can be opened, and that's what this is. 21350 is amend the water and sewer engineering contract. Boswell Engineering, amount not to exceed $20,000. The 2021 contract for Boswell is increased by $13,500 for a new total of $33,500. CFO has certified funds are available. 21351 is to amend contract Borough Planner, not to exceed $9,000. It needs to amend the contract for an additional $3,000. This contract is professional service with no public meeting. CFO has certified funds are available. Borough Planners increased by $3,000 for a new total of $12,000. 21352 is to hire a senior bus driver. As you know, we lost our bus driver, and we have a new one. Thank you, Tracy Rinaldo, at a salary of $20 per hour effective December 21st, 2021. 21353 is to authorize grant application to BMed Wellness Program for 2022. The BMed Gateway Fund offers a grant opportunity to its member agencies who wish to initiate a partnership with the fund to incentivize employee participation in health and wellness programming and awareness. The submission of a $10,000 grant application is this resolution. 21354 is the budget transfer, authorized transfer between budget appropriations. This has to be done at the end of the year. The current fund from Finance Administration and Vehicle Maintenance, $10,500. Tax collector overtime, street and road overtime, $10,500. And the sewer funds from 2,000 to 2,000 sewer electricity and chemical supplies. And 21355 is endorsing the amended Housing Element and Fair Share Plan, which we will call HEFSP, Fair Share Housing, and it is to pretty much agree to what was decided, and endorses the amended HEFSP, which is attached, and it was adopted by the Oakland Planning Board, authorizes and directs its professionals to file with the court the amended HEFSP, resolutions of the Planning Board adopting, the Borough Council endorsing the amended HEFSP, and any additional documents the professionals deem necessary or desirable, and it reserves the right to further amend the HEFSP should that be necessary. Are there any you wish to pull out? As long as I don't have to read HEFSP again.
Could we pull out the...
Not that one, please.
The Rise Against Hate...
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's 348.
That's 348. Anybody else? Okay, you're on. All right, other than 348, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eck.
Yes.
Let's go back to 21348. This is authorizing the Borough of Oakland to enter into a settlement agreement with RiseAgainstHate.org. You're on.
So, Mr. Chakowski, if you could just sort of explain how much this is going to cost us and why it's going to cost us and what really happened here.
Right, so what happened here is there was an Oprah request. That Oprah request was for email addresses of individuals that subscribe to the Borough newsletter. That Oprah request was, was for a list of names and email addresses. The list of names was produced, the email addresses were not. This organization has made similar requests throughout the state and has litigated those requests. rather than go to the Government Records Council, there was a complaint filed in the Superior Court in Bergen County, which is a process that you could utilize under Oprah. The unfortunate aspect is that a successful party in Oprah litigation is entitled to receive the attorney's fees expended for their claim. When the complaint was received, it was evaluated. We evaluated it based against the recent case that came out of the Supreme Court regarding addresses of dog owners. And based upon that evaluation, a recommendation was to resolve the case. The case will be resolved for a payment of attorney's fees of $2,640. There was a question asked, and I believe it was by you, Councilman, why can't we just give them the information? We are giving them the information, but they are entitled to the fees. We did negotiate the number down to the $2,640, which is set forth in the settlement agreement. I'm not necessarily going to indicate that I agree with the process, but it is in the best interest of the borough to resolve the case at this point in time for the payment of that amount of fees.
And then, so going forward though, with other requests, are we going to be more, you know?
The problem with Oprah is that from the beginning to now, it's becoming more liberalized. And that's really the problem. You know, we try to be cautious to protect privacy rights of what we believe are the citizens when we make recommendations. But at this point in time, you know, we're going to evaluate it under a different lens based upon the current case law and what we are seeing. You know, the other aspect of this, would I like to litigate this case? Yes. But if I evaluate it, what's the difference between a home address and an email address? To show you how old Oprah is what was not subject to disclosure under Oprah? An unlisted telephone number. There's no unlisted home address, and there are no unlisted email addresses. So that's the problem. The other part about litigating this, we can litigate it, we could lose, we could win, we can go to the appellate division, the Supreme Court. But in the end, if we lose, those attorney's fees on the other side just escalate. So those are the concerns. I think there needs to be a legislative response to Oprah, because Oprah has become, let's say, the record keeper for commercial businesses and record keeper for nonprofit organizations who want to get names, addresses, and emails.
I also, just so you know, I litigated as a prosecutor denial of an Oprah, and it was out of Ridgewood. And the applicant, the one who applies, won. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
It's not good. I mean,
Okay.
well, it's good because I think, what was the point, was so that there were no more closed door deals?
Well, the
Is that what it was?
idea, you know, it's
Yeah.
a word that I hate, but it's the transparency in government.
Right.
Is that, you know, the information that government is relying upon to make decisions or utilizing should be available to the public.
The part that just really bothered me was that we're getting charged to give them this list, that, you know, we're paying lawyer fees for something that they're getting the gold, you know. I said they're robbing my house,
Right.
and I have to pay
But
for their gas.
Councilman Bennett, didn't you make a comparison if you're in sales? Wasn't that, you brought that up, that people don't have to buy lists anymore? They can Oprah it?
Yeah. That's, and there are services you can pay for to purchase lists, and that's the, you know, I would say the right way to do it, but that's this industry standard, is you use services such as Zoom Info, or you go to a mail shop, print shop, and they're able to purchase lists to do direct mail, and that is the traditional way to do it. This is another way to do it, I guess.
Cheaper. Freer.
Again, this all makes me very uncomfortable, but the situation is what it is.
So with
All
that,
right, I make a motion to approve 348.
Second.
roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
Now we have ordinances. So for each ordinance, there are many. Each ordinance, there'll be a motion to open to the public for hearing, then close, and then a motion to adopt. First one, and all of you have for the first few that had to go before the zoning board, you all have the letters from the zoning board, sorry, planning board attorney wrote, we discussed all these in depth, and I mean in depth, and Mr. Yakimic was there, and Steve Lyden gave everyone an in-depth report. So if anybody wants to see any of these, you can open it. Okay. 21, Code 863 Cannabis Zoning Ordinance. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to move for final adoption?
Move for final adoption?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
And just for the public's awareness, the committee we had, Councilman Pignatelli and Councilman Van Eyck, how many meetings did we have over all this with the cannabis?
5 months.
We went into depth on it, and we
Yes.
did a lot of research, and we had members on both sides of the issue, and it was very productive, and thank you all who attended that, Councilman Van Eyck and Councilman Pignatelli for participating, and former Councilman DePentima, who was pretty much our scribe on this. So thank you. 21, Code 864 Affordable Housing Regulations, open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
Code 865, 20% affordable housing set aside. Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
And here we have the CBD 1 Zone, 21 Code 866. Motion to open.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to close. Oh, I'm sorry, did anybody wish to speak?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
21 Code 867 CBD 2 Zone. Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
21 Code 868 CDB 1 and 2 Affordable Housing Overlay Zone. Motion to
moved.
open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where are we?
Motion.
All in favor?
Motion.
All in favor? Oh. A motion to adopt.
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
21 Code 869 is the RA 5AH zone, land use and zoning. Open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Biali.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
21 Code 870 Recreation Fees. We discussed this as a resolution at the last meeting. Oh, no, it wasn't a resolution. It was the first here. It was to introduce. It's all the increase in rec fees for the sports in town. So is there motion open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak on rec? Motion to close.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Biali.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
My wife asked if we could not increase the ones that my kids play. Is that?
I'm not sure that's allowed.
I vote yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Okay. Well, everything else is affecting all of us now. 21 Code 871 Water Rates. This is to, so that the water utility is self-sustaining. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Just want to make a comment, Mayor.
Yes. Oh, we have to close to the public, wait.
Okay.
Are we closed to the public?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, yes, before we adopt.
You know, we're raising the water rates, but we haven't raised the water rates in years. And we don't want to let this fall behind and then try to catch up with a monster increase. So we should have been raising it minusculely over the last 8-9 years. I think it's been about 9 years since the last water rate, Rich? Increase?
No, actually, there was an increase in 2019 on the
2019.
base
But
rate.
before that, we went for a long period of time. So we just want to keep up on that utility being well-funded, and we don't want to lose control of small increases in rates rather than one big one after 10 years. So
Thank you.
I just want to mention
That's
that.
fiscally responsible.
Yeah, Mayor, can I just build upon what Councilman Biali was saying? I am in complete agreement with that. We're one of the few towns that still run our own water utility, and our rates are so much lower than all the big purveyors of water in the other towns. And it's really the responsibility of this governing body to really keep the system up running and stay up and current with everything that's being done. Thank you.
You're exactly right, Councilman. And the one big one, the big monster out there, if we had their water, we'd be paying 3 times
Yes.
as much in our rates than we have right now.
Absolutely.
With our own water utility.
Yes, the other mayors tell me that. Yes. In fact, one of the towns gets their water from Ridgewood Water, and I think they want to sue them because of the exorbitant rates. But anyway, motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Biali.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Ordinance 21 Code 872 is the cannabis licensing. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? You can get, and if anybody's interested, you get copies of all of these.
Motion to close?
Second.
Roll call. Oh, no, we're over.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now you need a motion.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Biali.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Next one will also answer your questions. The cannabis taxation, 21 Code 873. Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Biali.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Work session items are none. New business, anyone?
Yes.
Yes, who?
Mayor.
Yes.
I would like to make it a goal and a priority for us in 2022 that we move forward installing electric charging stations in our downtown area. I understand there was an article in the paper, over $1 billion has been allocated in the first bill for towns to install charging stations. I really would like to have that as a priority.
What happened to the Green Team program? Richard?
It's something that's still being worked on.
That's 2 years already.
Well, we had to go back to the drawing board, if you recall, from the last time, looking for additional funding sources, looking at the type of charger. The more capable charger that you get, the more expensive that it gets. So we're looking at doing something there that is still affordable for us and maximizing the grant revenue, to Pat's point, in trying to identify those sources.
I would just like to make sure we do this early, hopefully by our first meeting in February. Richard, please have a report for us with some recommendations.
The Green Team has been involved off and on, yeah.
Who was the one doing all the investigating and presented the program when we sat down?
Michael was doing a lot of that work
Green
himself.
Team? So whoever is the liaison to the Green Team next year.
Oh, next year.
Is that you?
No.
Oh.
We can prepare a report for February to let you know where we're at, what the funding sources are that are out there, what we're looking at in terms of, cost and implementation and make-ready work.
I don't want us to keep pushing this off.
No, it was in the municipal lot.
Yeah.
In fact, they showed there was a plan and there were the charging stations.
Yeah, that's still the preferred location, is at the Shoppers parking lot on 202.
I feel if we don't make it a priority, that we're going to be bypassed, and this money, over $1 billion, is going to be going to other towns, and we're going to be stuck with a big zero because we don't have a plan. So I really want, by February, our first meeting in February, Richard, please have a report regarding your recommendations.
Sure.
That's our money to begin with.
Right. So that's my suggestion for new business, and I'd like something for old business.
Go ahead.
Under old business, I'd like to reconvene our traffic study committee. We met once. We gave some recommendations to Boswell's traffic engineer. I understand he got sick, so I understand things happen. But I really want another meeting because it's important for us to look at, especially with this last application that we have, if we really have plans of widening Terhune Street, and it appears as though the bypass is the best solution right now. However, it's expensive.
Now, going home tonight from my office, as you know, I travel up and down 202. I was passing your house.
And I live on 202.
I was passing your house.
Yes.
Going all the way near your house. The traffic was already backed up to your house.
Yeah.
And there was this big truck, and people were trying to get around the truck.
That traffic is from 3:30 until 6 o'clock.
Right.
Every day. So I really
Except
want...
during this pandemic, but it's back.
Yes.
All the traffic is back.
So, Mr. Kimmick, would you please make sure that our traffic engineer, Mr. Richard, please make sure our traffic engineer sets up a meeting in the near future, because we really want to show that we're making progress toward eliminating the traffic congestion downtown.
And we have to include Brian Rowan, our traffic officer.
Yeah, well, he was there, so was
Yes.
the chief of police.
Yes.
Make sure we're all there again, that were there last time.
What? Who said
I was
something?
saying, it was a whole group of us.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay, good.
it's important for us to meet again. We have to come up with something to show that we're trying to do something rather than just talk.
Good.
We need a recommendation and a price tag.
Thank you.
And those are my two old and new business.
Other business?
That's all I have.
Anybody else have new or old business?
I was going to say, for old business, I missed the last meeting. I don't know if they
You
were
see all
already-
the,
They were down. That's a really good sign. When we have the new pictures, are we going to have an unveiling? Are we going to invite the families
oh,
in?
don't say that word. You know,
Our intention is to have the reframe
I'll explain that
photos
to you
up
later.
for the oath
It's
of
a
office.
religious thing.
Okay. Whatever council wants to do in terms of some sort of a ceremony,
Uncover.
give us that direction and we'll put something together. It may be appropriate to do something at the oath of office meeting where we can unveil the new photos.
Uncover.
Uncover the new photos and the plaque as well.
That would be really nice.
Okay.
2 years in the making, so this is great. This is exciting.
That's short time. Anybody
That's
else?
all.
Just old business.
Oh, where are
just
ya?
Where are we with the houses on Lenape?
With what?
The homes that we're purchasing on Lenape Lane?
On phase 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, the due diligence stuff is still being done. Some of the appraisals had to be readjusted to conform with the Green Acres requirements. So I'm told that that's in process at the moment. And I think that the rest of it is probably just about ready, although I haven't seen those reports from the Land Conservancy quite yet.
Actually, can I just piggyback on
Yes.
Mr. Talamini's question? Mr. Coons, I know we've done the house buyouts at the end of Truman down by the field. Do we know when those houses are going to be torn down?
In the spring.
They are coming out in spring. We've got quotes and everything, it's all done?
I'm sorry?
All the quotes are in and everything, they're ready to come out?
No, we got to go out to bid yet, but by the time we do that and everything, the spring is the right time because of planting. So it's all being arranged for that, and we'll be working with the fire department as well to use these structures for some training before they come down.
Please make sure the baiting is done for rodents prior to demolition.
That's in the bid spec.
Good, thank you.
Bathing?
Baiting.
Oh, I was gonna say, why would you? You said bathing.
No, baiting. Ting.
Mayor, one other item,
Yes.
old business that I missed, and that is, I see Charlie here in the audience. Where are we with Alaman Brook and renovation of the Alaman Brook once again? And has Congressman Gottheimer been in touch with the office to gather information for a letter to be sent to the DOT?
Yes, he's been requesting.
Right, so we had an on-site meeting with the NRCS, Division of the USDA. They kind of clarified what project elements they would fund under their program and what they would not. So the borough engineer, working with the floodplain manager, have been working on a cost estimate for those project elements, which would mostly be sedimentation removal from the Lakeshore Bridge down to the entrance to Crystal Lake, as well as the repair to 40 Nokomis and that wall. The other elements that we were looking for funding for will not be funded through NRCS, but we're continuing to pursue that with FEMA at this point. So that estimate has to be in by this week, which we'll be getting that in, and we'll be pursuing an agreement with NRCS for that.
So they're willing to pick up cost from the bridge to the lake?
For
Remediation.
soil removal.
But everything else above the bridge is still open for?
Except for the repair to the one section of embankment, they weren't going to be covering anything else.
Okay, that's why I think Congressman Gottheimer's offered to send a letter to the DOT.
Did we send
He
him all the
made
pa-
that abundantly clear when he walked the project and went to Charlie's backyard to see the damage that was done.
Did he get all our paperwork?
I'll double check, Mayor, for you. Okay.
Mayor?
Yeah.
One other thing also, and that begs the question, since we're talking about Congressman Gottheimer. Patriots Way Bridge, I know they passed the first federal bill. Has anybody here heard anything about
Yeah, I'm
money
meeting
coming?
him tomorrow.
Okay, so there should be some definitive answers?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. 'Cause I mean, the price of that bridge keeps going up every
Yes.
month we wait.
Yes, we know.
Thank
In
you.
fact, Mr. Kimming's gonna, who has his reports? Who's giving his report tonight? Councilman Bialy, you'll go? Okay.
Well, John wants the last meeting, he can do it.
Do you want to do the last one? You.
Do the what?
The Patriots.
Oh, Patriots Way Bridge, there's nothing new to report, but I'll do it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's safe to drive on.
It's safe to drive on, and
Oh.
as I told you, one woman once said to me in the beginning was, she doesn't swim, is she gonna have to learn how to swim? And I said, no.
Heaven forbid.
Yes. It's not that deep, I don't think.
Yeah, well.
All right, any more old business or new business? Therefore, we'll do council committee reports. We'll start with Councilman.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. First, I want to just congratulate Councilman Bialy on all the recognition tonight and for your 12 years of service and for everything you've done for the town. It's been great working with you the last 2 years. Best wishes to you in this next chapter, and I know we'll be seeing each other around, continue to work and stay in touch, but thank you for the last 2 years, Councilman Bialy. Right. First, Mayor mentioned it already, but congratulations to Liz Laurenti, who was received of the Hometown Hero Award, which was, I wasn't able to make that either today because of work, but congratulations, Liz. It's great working with you and all the work you do for the newsletter. It's awesome, and it's nice to be recognized. I know you don't do it for the recognition, which is why you deserve that recognition. So congratulations to Liz. The OCC report, we have a lot going on Oakland TV this month. The Yule Log plays every day. We've got Christmas jazz songs playing, and Miracle on 34th Street from 1947's the matinee movie. So we're doing the whole Christmas theme. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we do have an opening, so no better time to jump on as a commissioner. If you're interested, get in touch with me. Then at the beginning of the new year, our first meeting is on January 24th. For recreation, I want to congratulate our two new commissioners that were appointed tonight, Mike and Megan. Looking forward to working with you. It's always a pleasure. There's a commission meeting going on right now at the same time as this council meeting, so I'm missing that. But welcome to Mike and Megan. Baseball, softball, volleyball, and lacrosse signups will be starting after the new year, so keep an eye at the website. It's oaklandrec.org. That's oaklandrec.org for all the sign-up information that you need. Shade Tree Commission, we continue to work on the ordinance and work with the governing body on the ordinance. That has been an ongoing thing if you've been following our meetings. So we're continuing to evolve and to develop the work on an updated shade tree ordinance. And I'll let Councilman Bialy give the bridge and DPW report. So that's all I have for tonight, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
And I want to add in public, the Christmas card with your two little children, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, John, I just wanted to, I don't remember if you remember when we first met, you were working at Verizon, and I was at Verizon, and believe it or not, John really had a lot to do with me getting involved in politics. And I remember the conversations we have working at the building, how are things going, how does this work, how does that work? And John, really, he's been a mentor to me. You're a gentleman. We may have agreed on some issues, but at the end of the day, we shook hands and moved on, and we just did our business. So, John, I wish you the best of luck. Enjoy your grandchildren, and I can see what Chopper was saying and other people, you certainly will not be gone. I'm sure you'll be back in some
Thank you so much, Eric.
John.
I remember the job well, and I remember one thing, that you were the key man there. Anytime I had to get into a room I didn't have a key for, Eric was the key man.
Oh,
literally. I just, planning board, as you know, we went through a series of ordinances here. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago. One of the big issues that we're working on was the 630 Sampo RVR Rampo Valley Road 3-house subdivision. The planning board has approved that, and I think we made most of the residents happy with the way the houses were realigned and the driveways are coming out to 202 instead of going through people's backyards. So I just want to really commend the board for the fine work they did, really listening to the residents, and also the builder being able to meet everybody halfway, and it was really a good win for everybody. Also, at the planning board, as you heard tonight, there was the review of the cannabis ordinance, as well as a lot of the affordable housing elements as well. Also, it's the end of the year. I just want to thank all the committees that I've been liaison to, the Green Team, working with emergency services, police, fire, ambulance. I think I said the Green Team. The Planning Board is also a great organization. It was great, really fun working with everybody. I don't know where our assignment is going to be next year, but certainly it was a wonderful year. We got a lot done. And basically, in closing, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate, and a healthy, Happy New Year, and that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman.
John, I know I congratulated you before, and as I said, I've known you for almost 40 years.
Right.
I know John puts 100%, 110% effort into whatever you do, John, and you certainly are a shining example for any future councilman, and thank you very much for all your service.
Thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate that.
On the reports, first aid calls for the month of November, 68 total calls.
802 drove 932 miles, 803 drove 437 miles, for a total of 1,369 miles. For the Board of Health, the Board of Health meeting is tomorrow night. I'd just like to make an appeal to everyone to please, I know that the big talk is about COVID shots, but please don't forget the flu shots. With the COVID vaccinations or the COVID virus, we keep hearing about how many people died from it. I think worldwide about 5 million people, as I read today. But for flu, in the United States, over 30,000 people die from the flu every year. Children 6 months and above, so please consult your parents, please consult your pediatrician. Very, very important. Flu can affect any
You
age
get a
group.
flu shot from 6 months?
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's recommended. Specifically senior citizens, high mortality rate for the flu. So I encourage everyone, you could get the quadrivalent, which is 4 different strains, prevention from 4 different strains of the flu, or the trivalent for 3 different strains. But please, please, don't become a statistic of influenza is a real virus, and people do die from it. Podiatry Clinic. Anyone who's a senior citizen and would like to attend the podiatry clinic, just call the office and speak to Ariel. And on a personal note, I took advantage of it myself. Last week went to the podiatrist. He's wonderful. He really is very personable, very thorough, and no fee. You don't have to pay anything. Medicare, it's covered under Medicare. So call the office. Make sure you bring your Medicare card with you so that they could make a copy of it. And I believe that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor,
About the senior luncheon?
I'm sorry?
Was it last week, the senior luncheon?
Oh, yeah, the senior.
Well, now that I joined.
The senior
I
luncheon.
off guard.
Yes, quite a few people were there. It was a great time. Ariel just does such a wonderful job, and I thank her for all her efforts. She really does a good job.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just forgot one thing under my report. I just want to thank the fire department. Obviously, as everybody knows, we had a VIP in town last Saturday, and Santa Claus was spotted all over the north and south end of town. And I just want to thank the fire department for really helping Santa out and bringing him around town.
Yes, my husband kept saying, a lot of fires. I said, no, Steve.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Enjoy your holiday. Be safe.
We're going to save you for last, Councilman.
Especially when you meet with your family.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Slazinski, we're saving Councilman Bialy for last. No, we're going to put him last.
Oh, okay.
Last and
Thank you, Mayor, first of all. Also, Councilman Bialy, I would just like to thank you for your service. As a new guy on the council, I've learned a lot, just from your conduct, and thank you for everything you've done for Oakland.
Thank you very much.
Report on the library. The Oakland Public Library Board of Trustees would like to extend a huge thank you to the Department of Public Works, who came in and painted the children's department. The room looks like new and is beautiful. They did an excellent job. 2021 is wrapping up, and they are looking forward to 2022. They would like to remind everyone about the shared spaces, which is available to any nonprofit organization or individual in Oakland. Also, they will be introducing click and share technology in January of 22, so folks can interface with the available screens from any device with the click of a button. This really expands opportunities for education, training, and presentations. People can reach out to the director, Peter Havel, for more details. Also, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and see you in 2022.
Councilman.
Yes, well, John, just what can I say? Thank you. Always a gentleman, always professional. Your heart is 100% in it, and I appreciate everything you've ever done for Oakland and everyone up here that does this. This is very important to me and my family. representing the town in some way, and for someone to put all the time and effort that you did, I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I
It's
appreciate
been
it.
wonderful being on the council with you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Russ.
Yes. So, Oakland Public Events, just thank you to Oakland Public Events for the Christmas tree lighting and the menorah lighting. They just do such a good job. Everybody just does what they need to do. There's always somebody there that you say, oh, who's not here? Well, don't worry, this one's going to fill in and do that. They just, everybody does their job. The Oakland Public Events Committee is just wonderful. And having said that, though, we always need members. So please, if you have the desire to help out on one of these events, they're always great, and we need new members. But thank you.
You're going to be busy next year with the Memorial Day Parade?
Yes.
And the extra other parade?
That's the problem. We do too good a job. And then no report for finance in the schools. Schools will be closing soon. Please remember, be safe. You know, there are a lot of COVID cases. The schools have asked with recreation, please remember to have your masks on in the gyms. They just want to make sure that basketball can continue to go forward. We don't want to have to close down the season because of COVID outbreaks. So please do what you can to stay safe while being at the basketball games. I understand it's hard. It gets hot in there and you want to cheer, but just be smart. And other than Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, we'll see you in January. Thank you.
Now, Councilman Bialy.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me take this off. DPW report. It's hard to believe this is my last report, but here it goes. Pedestrian safety improvements from Navajo Way to Thunderbird. In executive session, we discussed a plan to overcome an obstacle in front of us dealing with an easement. So I think the plan's going to follow through, and hopefully we'll have good results real quick. Road program. The remaining drainage work was scheduled to be completed today. Small punch list items remain for the spring 2022. Boswell currently preparing the 222 road program bid documents. Digital sign. Boswell is scheduled to receive the cost today from the county for relocating the county's signal box, control cabinet, and the masonry
He
is...
just threw his hands up.
Not yet, Councilman.
Not yet?
Sorry.
Okay. But it was completed, as I mentioned to you. I met with the Albright, I'm trying to think of the contract.
Alan Brightway.
Alan Brightway down in Atlantic City.
Paul Masticchio.
Paul Masticchio.
Yes.
And he said, you'll be getting it at the end of the week, and that was a month ago.
I checked my junk mail just in case it came in there, and not yet.
Okay, very good.
Hopefully tomorrow.
And you've completed the masonry concept.
Yes, we need access to the side panels.
Okay, very good. Yes, we do. Downtown traffic congestion study, connector road to Hugh would have a positive effect on downtown traffic. Striping changes would have limited positive impact. A report to be submitted by the end of the month. Possible follow-up meeting in January. Rampo Valley Road, Franklin Avenue signal. No known reports of malfunctioning since the controller was replaced. So imagine the issue was the controller. Water and sewer decommissioning of the 3 sanitary sewer treatment plants. Bids were received with the apparent low bidder being higher than the engineer's estimate. Boswell and the Borough continue to review the financing and value engineering options for the project to move forward. Skyview Highbrook sewer lining. Only remaining work is at 2 Kiowa, that's still existing, where an excavation needs to be made in the rear yard. We've already contacted the owner and has secured permission from the owner to perform this work during the first week of January, weather permitting. Iroquois Pump Station upgrade, expected that the project will be awarded to a contractor in late January or early February. Water main replacements in Pleasureland, a pre-construction meeting was held. The projects are now scheduled to begin in January. Patriots Way Bridge, same report. The bridge remains safe and open to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. The borough is awaiting a response from the NJDOT on our request to shift application of their $215,000 grant for the bridge to the approach roads, Patriots Way and Overlook Ridge. And federal funding remains a possibility, and the cost estimate is still $5.66 million. I believe that may do it. I just wanted to make mention that it's been a real honor and a pleasure to serve the residents of Oakland for 12 years, 6 years in 2000 to 2006, and from 2015 to today. I have no regrets. I do it all over again, knowing what it is. I must share my basic karma and mantra in doing this job is every job I do with a passion, and this is no exception to the rule. I passionately prepare and stay on top. I talk to Rich like he's my brother. I call him constantly, and John also. John's been very receptive, and I tried to keep on top of all the projects that were in my discipline, just to make sure that the residents got the best end of the stick and nobody else. So I went with a passion. I went with a sense of equality to all. So when I dealt with something, a backyard issue, I made sure it didn't negatively impact the rest of the town. If we could keep it where it belongs, that was, it's very hard and tricky to do, but it did give me a playing ground that I was used to playing on. And the other thing, you have to stay within the laws and the rules. And if you do that, put those three things together, a little common sense, a little equality, and a little passion, you'll have success, Steve. I wish you well in moving forward and staying on top of all the projects that you will be overseeing.
Thank you.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
You will be
And I just
missed.
want to thank the town and mayor and council for their proclamation, as well as from the state and from Congressman Gottheimer.
And you will
Much
be missed.
appreciated.
You will be missed.
Thank you. I'm going to miss being here.
You have your granddaughter, you'll enjoy
I
her
know.
more. Yes.
You get over it.
Motion open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Haven't seen you in a while.
Right. Yeah, my name's Jerry Angermuller. I live at 24 Lakeview Terrace. And I'm coming in because I've been speaking to some people in town who have lived here a long time. And they were concerned when they saw in the newspaper the tax sale listings, like there are almost 200 people on the tax sale listing. And they're not even people that were upset that are on the list. They're saying, oh my goodness, what are we, Patterson or something, that we have so many people on the tax sale list? Like, this is Haledon, but only because they have the prior year taxes, the 2020 tax. They only have 18 people on the list. So one of the reasons is that Oakland has decided to do an accelerated tax sale for the 2021. And I just had a couple of suggestions. I mean, I know it's hard to switch back to the regular tax sale. There are certain regulations that the state has. I mean, that would be my first suggestion, if we could find a way. I know one town I saw, they had their tax sale in the middle of January. That gives, the tax office time to send out reminders. People pay their taxes, and, they don't end up on a tax sale list, because in the end, these people, they weren't having trouble paying their taxes. Maybe they forgot, or they...
Excuse me, what paper was that in?
This is the record. This is the Bergen record.
Oh, because I read the record every day, and I didn't...
That was in there about 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been there.
Away.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's been, so only 33 people ended up actually or being on the tax sale.
And, if there's a way to change that regulation to take these people out of the newspaper over time, it would be nice if the regulations could be changed. Another suggestion, if it's too hard to, go back to the regular tax sale, just, the tax office can just make sure that the tax collector feels secure. Tax collectors have different things, they have rules to follow, but they have different ways of following the rules. Like some tax collectors will say, oh, I'll take the mail, the 10th is the last, November 10th is the last day to pay without getting on tax sale. You can just have the mail come in and post that and say anything that comes in after that, oh, well, I'll just have to put them on tax sale and charge them fees and interest. Other tax collectors will say, oh, I'll make an extra effort. I'll go at the end of the day on the 10th, I'll go to the post office and make sure everybody's covered, everybody who came in, payment came in on that day, that they don't end up on the tax sale. And that way you have a shorter tax sale list, and it's, we don't look, and it's embarrassing to see a tax sale list like this for a lot of people. And people looking to buy houses in Oakland, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't say, oh my God, Oakland, do I want to live there when they have such financial trouble?
Richard, I've never seen a list that large.
Actually, that's about half of what it was last year.
I just don't remember seeing such a list.
That list, that number of initial delinquencies after the fourth quarter is right about what it was in 2019. And out of that whole list, there were only 30-something or so that actually went to tax sale. Everybody else had come in and paid, and that didn't go through the selling of the lien process.
And isn't it required that you post it somewhere?
Yeah. It is, but there are ways. I mean, the tax collector could be encouraged to say, oh, even if the post office brings the payments in after the 10th, don't blame it on the post office. Say, okay, well, those from the 10th, when we get mail at home on the 10th, that's really the mail of the 9th. It's just the post office doesn't deliver it until the 10th. So it could be investigated how, and the tax collector could be helped to make sure she posts everything to make sure people don't end up on the tax sale list. And maybe, maybe somebody could work with her on that. And next year, we'd look a little like we're financially a little more stable, because
we've been doing this for a while already, because I used to get calls all the time.
We've been doing this about 10 years now.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not new.
It hasn't gotten better. That's
Right,
why I
right.
wanted to come and suggest something that, you can look into it and see if you can do something.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Just I forgot about historical and cultural, my report, and that is that we have a new conceptual drawing that we'll be working on, and the mayor is going to ask me to volunteer,
Yes.
and I'll be happy to do that.
Yes, definitely. That's your baby, the string house. Anybody else wish to speak?
Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills be paid, Councilman.
Bills to be paid, $828,320.86. So moved.
Second.
And everybody read the bills list, I hope, before you vote. Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Slisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eck.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next meeting is our oath of office. Councilman will be taking the oath of office. January 2nd, right here at Council Chambers, 12 noon. Good night. Happy New Year and a very happy holiday, and be healthy.
You ready? Everybody shaking hands?
Thank you,
So let me tell you about the valley.